always been a light sleeper, but ever since I retired, nights have felt longer than they should. Too quiet. Too empty. It's just me now, living in this old countryside house I built with my own hands 30 years ago. My wife passed 5 winters back, and my son moved to the city not long after. Now it's just me and an aging German shepherd named Rex. Most nights, I sit on the porch before bed, listening to the wind move through the trees. It helps settle my mind. But a few weeks ago, something started to feel off. It began with small things. Tools in my shed not where I left them. The back door slightly ajar in the mornings. At first, I blamed myself. Old age, maybe. Forgetfulness creeping in. But then Rex started acting strange. He's always been calm, loyal, not the kind of dog to bark without reason. But one night, around 2 a.m., he started growling low and deep, staring toward the hallway that leads to the back of the house.
I woke up instantly. That kind of growl, it's not nothing. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped into the hall. The house was dark, dead silent. I checked every room. Nothing. Doors locked, windows shut. I even checked outside, circling the house with Rex glued to my leg. Nothing there either. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't alone. The next night, it got worse. I was in bed when I heard it. Soft footsteps. Not loud. Careful. Like someone trying not to be heard. They were coming from the kitchen. Rex heard it too. His ears perked, body stiff. Then he started that low growl again. The figure didn't move, didn't react, just stood there. Then, slowly, it stepped back and disappeared into the trees. I didn't sleep at all that night. I called the police the next morning. They came out, checked the house, walked the property, found nothing. No footprints, no signs of forced entry. They suggested maybe it was a trespasser passing through. But that didn't sit right with me. This wasn't random. Whoever it was, they knew the place. A few nights later, things escalated. I woke up to a sound right outside my bedroom door. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. Rex was already up, standing between me and the door, teeth bared, growling louder than I'd ever heard before.
The handle began to turn. Slowly. I felt my chest tighten as I gripped the bat, every muscle in my body locked in place. The door creaked open just a few inches, then stopped. I didn't think. I charged forward and yanked it open. The hallway was empty. Completely empty. But at the far end, near the back door, it was open again, swinging slightly. Rex bolted past me, barking wildly as he ran outside. I followed, heart pounding so hard I thought it might give out. The yard was empty. But then I noticed something near the porch. Footprints. Fresh. Leading away from the house, and then circling back. Over and over again. Like someone had been walking around the house for hours. Watching. Waiting. I haven't had a full night's sleep since. Every creak,
every whisper of wind against the walls. It all sounds like footsteps now. Sometimes I catch Rex staring at corners of the room, growling under his breath. And every night, before I lock the doors, I check the tree line. Because I know they're still out there. I just haven't seen them again. Yet. I don't remember every detail perfectly, but I remember enough to know that something wasn't right that night. I grew up in a quiet town where nothing ever really happened, so like most teenagers, my friends and I had to find our own ways to entertain ourselves. For us, that usually meant exploring abandoned places. There was one spot in particular we kept going back to, an old boarded-up school on the edge of town. It had been shut down for years after some kind of incident nobody really talked about. The building sat behind a rusted fence, surrounded by overgrown weeds and cracked pavement. It looked completely dead from the outside, but that only made it more appealing to us. One cold evening, there were 5 of us: me, Ryan, Chloe, Matt, and Jess. We hopped the fence like we'd done before and made our way around to a broken side entrance. The inside smelled damp and stale, like rot and dust. Our footsteps echoed way louder than they should have in the empty hallways. We stuck together as we moved through the building, using our phone flashlights to see. Lockers lined the walls, most of them hanging open, some dented like they'd been kicked in. It felt wrong being there that night, like the place didn't want us inside anymore. Eventually, we made our way to the stairwell that led down to the basement. That's where we usually went. I don't know why, but it always felt like the most interesting part of the building. The basement was worse than I remembered. The air felt heavier down there, almost hard to breathe. There were a few rooms branching off from the main corridor, most of them empty except for scattered junk and broken furniture.
We went into one of the larger rooms and just hung out for a bit, talking, trying to act like nothing bothered us. But the whole time, I couldn't shake this feeling that we were being watched. Then we heard it. A loud metallic bang echoed through the basement. It sounded like one of the locker doors upstairs had been slammed shut. We all froze instantly. Nobody said anything. We just looked at each other, trying to figure out if one of us had made the noise somehow. But we were all together, and the sound definitely didn't come from down there. Jess was the first to panic. She said we should leave, that someone else might be in the building. Ryan tried to laugh it off, but I could tell even he was nervous. Before we could decide what to do, we heard something else. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Walking directly above us. Every step creaked through the ceiling, moving from one end of the hallway to the other. We didn't move. We didn't breathe. We just listened. The footsteps stopped, right above us. Then came a dragging sound, like something being pulled across the floor. That was enough. We all turned and rushed out of the room, heading back toward the stairs. But as we reached the hallway, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. One of the doors that had been closed before was now open. None of us had gone near it. Ryan, for whatever reason, decided to look inside. I wish he hadn't. The room was small, barely more than a storage closet. There was an old desk pushed against the wall, and on top of it, something dark. At first I thought it was just dirt or mold, but when Ryan shined his light closer, we saw streaks,
thick, uneven streaks smeared across the surface. They didn't look old. They looked fresh. That's when we heard it again. Not upstairs this time. Right behind us. A slow step. Inside the basement. We didn't even look. We just ran. Up the stairs, through the hallway, out the broken entrance. We didn't stop until we were back over the fence and on the street. When we finally turned around, I looked up at one of the second-floor windows, and I swear I saw something standing there. A dark shape, perfectly still, watching us. None of us ever went back after that. The school was torn down a year later, like it never existed. But sometimes I still think about those footsteps and how they followed us downstairs.